If you like my comedy, fucking stick around. I hope I make better shit coming up.
Right.
If you don't like my comedy, go check out so many people.
Right.
We don't have to do this thing where I have to be like, I am funny.
Right.
It's
please like me. I'm going to show you why.
But also, I'm not here to tell you that I'm giving you, and you know, I'm not providing anything besides my stupid, silly thoughts. Like this whole idea that comedians, I really like, it fucking irked me hearing so many comics, and I've definitely been guilty of this in the past. But when we suck our own dicks, I think people are just over it. They're just over us being like.
I can tell you from, you know, fan point of view, it is kind of like.
They are over it, where you're like, let me tell you what's really going on. I get in there and I take a punchline and I bend it. And it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. I don't know. My dog, I saw dog shit fall out of my dog's asshole weird. I want to talk about that.
I bet you do that funny. That is a good joke.
Yeah, but it's like, but, I don't, dude, I am a
you're not curing cancer. You're not.
And this isn't a knock on me as a person, but it's just to let you know where I'm coming from. I'm a fucking loser. Like, I am a loser. Don't think I'm ever going to be like, and also another thing, bro, I will try to give you a friendly nudge in the right direction. If you're being a fucking cocksucker, you know, I'll be like, hey, maybe don't be such a dick. But it's like, I think
but also you have to realize from our point of view, from this like fan in the audience point of view, it's the furthest thing from just like you're just an average dude, you're just a loser. It might be like, oh, I know that we came from the same background or cut from the same cloth, but when you can do what you do and be on stage and all that shit, and when you I mean it is almost godlike in a way. In those moments,
man,
it is. For us, it's like that's why these guys are. We put you up that way because it's like it's the fucking most.
You guys are making. It's your fault for our fucking.
Definitely.
Stop making idiot kings.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
Just and you know what else? It's a trick. You're being carnied, dude.
You guys.
There's no bearded lady. There's the
guys. The stand-ups, the comics getting into the internet is funny too, where it's like this revolutionary idea to be on the internet and do social media and YouTube and shit. It's like, we're all fucking doing it, guys.
Everyone's doing it, but there are people that are doing it very well.
Oh, sure, very well, better, no doubt.
Andrew Schultz did a fucking phenomenal job of doing that. And
but even that's what I mean. It's like we're you know, from our point of view, it's like, yeah, we've been fucking grinding away on the internet here at Barstool for fucking 2 decades, just trying to make our bones that way, you know?
Yeah, and so I bet you see the same frustration that a lot of comedians are seeing, where we're just seeing people just come in that aren't comedians, that haven't put in the work, and they're just, you know, when you benefit off like that, hey, I'm fine with you benefiting off it, but you better fucking acknowledge that you know you're skipping the line.
Right.
And if you don't, well, then that's when I'm going to start to, if you're like up front, you're like, dude, I fucking suck. I fucking cut, whatever. Have you ever been cut in line? That's how it feels. You want the person who cuts you in line to be like, sorry guys, my fucking buddy was waiting. And then you'd be like, hey dude, no
it's all
problem.
Good. You acknowledge it. Yes. You know what's going on here. Yeah.
It's the fucking acknowledgement.
Right.
Just acknowledge it. Acknowledge why you suck, and people will like you. I promise you that.
Yeah, because you can't expect them not to take the fucking skip if they can, but you got to at least be like, my bad.
Yeah, and that was a real thing that I struggle with. And, you know, I talk about wanting like the older comics to like me and shit and wanting that. But my problem in general that I've had to work on in therapy is wanting people to like me just because of the way I grew up. I grew up completely alone as an only child. You know, I mean, I had an older sister, but she was 12 years older, living in LA, and I was in Denver or Aurora. And it's like, I was just completely alone. My mom worked full time. Dad was out of the picture. And you just get this like weird thing where you're like, you can talk yourself into being like, I think everyone hates me. Like,
real quick, it can happen.
Yeah, and as a kid, that can be a formative thought where you're like, yo, I think everyone fucking hates me. And then you just spend your adult life being like, do you like me? And they're like, yeah.
Do you believe in that, like comics have to come from a place of trauma and use all that to
I think,
or the best helps. Ones do? Yeah.
I mean, Will Ferrell is one of the funniest human beings of all time, and from all accounts, like, he had a pretty good life. But I know people from pretty good lives that are really funny, but I know some people that straight up have became great people from absolute darkness. Louis J. Gomez came from one of the hardest lives I've ever heard of in my life. Yeah. And the fact that he is as sweet, as good as a dad he is, as funny as he is, all that shit, it's like, man, that's a person that you need to be like, he's going to say some naughty words.
Well, yeah, one of my favorite tweets of his was like when, Seth Simon or some fucking asshole was coming for him. And he was like, my mom was the whore, my dad was a murderer, or whatever it was. He's like, you should be lucky that all I do is
I think that's
feathers with my comedy, okay?
Yeah, I think that's his pinned tweet, and it should say
right,
that.
right. I
mean, what a fucking warning label. It's like, that's my only, like, you've always seen comics do like the, caution tape around their mouth, or like to let you know they're dangerous.
Right.
That is Louis J. Gomez is the only person who legitimately needs a warning label on him, where you're like, there it is. I should have been this, and now I'm this. And he's a person where, like, when people don't like him, I'm like, yeah, if you only know him through the internet, I definitely see how you can rub you off. I get in the room with him for 5 minutes or on the phone with him for 2 minutes. I'm like, God damn, I love this son of a bitch.
Yeah, he's a teddy bear. He's a nice guy. Right.
I love him.
Do you think that you are funnier because of like the loss you experienced? Like that that inherent funniness though, is that because, like, I can understand where you.
No, I think it just makes you. I think it's like you can have fast hands, but then you can grow up like fucking Manny Pacquiao, where your dad's making you fight in a wet market.
Right.
You're gonna get good. You're gonna get fucking nice at boxing.
I think you would have been inherently funny. Just be like.
I think I would have, like I said in my HBO special, like I would have just been the funniest guy at Enterprise.
Right.
Like, I would just be fucking. I'd be at a low-level marketing firm or designing action figures. I'd be doing some nerd shit. Right. And just kind of smoking a lot of weed and being like, whatever. I probably
class clown.
I would definitely have a drinking problem because no one would interfere. Because it was my comedy career. People were like, you should probably fucking.
Was that what it was? Like, if you stop drinking, you'll be better at this sort of thing?
Yeah, hell yeah. And it was a mixture of that and therapy. Like going to therapy and my therapist being like, yeah, you're an alcoholic. And you're like, shut up.
No way.
Whatever, dork. And
he's I'm new to therapy. I'm trying to get really into it.
It's the brain gym, dude. It's the brain.
And I think that a lifetime and then a decade of it being a lifetime on the internet and a decade of it being my career and like grinding through it, fighting through everything is like I'm just ready to fucking swing, and I am like learning that, and I'm like, oh, this is a horrible way to be. I have to undo all of that and rebuild it. And that sounds not fun. Fuck.
Yeah, it's like, man, Bobby Kelly has my favorite. Like, Bobby Kelly is one of the most important people in my life because he has always been, first off, just a fucking killer. If you're a comedian and you ever have to follow Robert Kelly,
take a hike.
Yeah,
just walk
it's out. Him. I would probably go on my list of, it'd be Bobby, Jessica Kirson, Greer Barnes. It's just not fun. It's just not fun to do stand-up. Like, you can do stand-up after like Louis or Rock or Seinfeld. Because, like, there's people there that are like, all right, I've seen him. Who's this guy?
Right.
But when you watch like Bobby wreck a room, you're just like, I had to follow him. And I came back from Edinburgh and I worked the Cellar Vegas. And, they have dispensaries there. So I just bought a ton of weed. And I was just like smoking in my hotel room. And then fucking Liz put me on after Bobby, who was running his Netflix Degenerate set. Dude, I was just like, at one point I was on stage and I was like, man, I am a placeholder right now. You're just on stage watching people not give a fuck about what you are saying. Because Bobby just fucking annihilated.
All right, I get what you're saying. But again, knowing how I know how I view you, and I know there's a million other people who do. You're telling me you don't think that there's some level of like this is self-loathing?
No, it's a physical actuality. It is
don't believe it.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, it's just a physical. I'm not trying to be humble in any fucking way. I'm letting you know it is a straight up A plus B equals C. It's just what it is. And Bobby's like, Bobby does this like where he's like, what? Dude, my favorite is one time I saw him murder at the Cellar back, like, I think it was when I was opening for him before I was passed. And he gets off stage and I was like, Jesus, Bobby. And he goes, I'm a fucking hammer. And I was just like, God damn it.
This is what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I'm a fucking hammer. I'm like, you goddamn right you are.